The queen circles the human like a predator. Every word and gesture is threatening. The human doesn't bow. Instead, he smiles calmly, confusing and angering the queen. Flashbacks briefly reveal the human's past. A survivor of a destroyed colony, hardened by loss, with a secret knowledge about the queen's weakness. The queen challenges him with her powers. She makes objects levitate, shadows attack, and her fangs gleam menacingly. The human counters with wit and strategy rather than brute force, surviving small attacks and taunting her, saying, "Make me." The queen's fury reaches its peak. The throne room shakes as she prepares her deadliest attack. The human suddenly vanishes in a flash of light, leaving the queen enraged and confused. Welcome to my channel Starlight Sci-Fi Stories. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. The throne room of the vampire alien queen was enormous, bathed in deep crimson light that flickered like fire. Shadows danced along the walls, and strange, alien shapes twisted in the corners. The air was thick, heavy with a strange, almost metallic smell. Every creature in the court fell silent as the doors at the far end of the room slammed open. The vampire alien queen entered. Her presence was terrifying and majestic at the same time. Her eyes glowed like molten gold, fangs sharp and gleaming, and her long, flowing cloak seemed to swallow the light. She raised her hand, and the entire room quaked as she screamed in a voice that could pierce stone, "Kneel or die." The courtiers, aliens of all shapes and sizes, dropped to their knees immediately, heads bowed in fear. But in the center of the throne room stood a single human, completely alone. His chest was steady, his eyes unwavering. He did not kneel. He did not even flinch. Whispers filled the room. No human has ever survived her wrath. He must die. The queen's golden eyes narrowed, and a ripple of fury rolled through the room. She stepped forward, each movement graceful yet terrifying, like a predator circling prey. "You dare to defy me, human?" Her voice echoed, sharp and deadly. The human smiled, a small, calm smile. "Make me." The courtiers gasped. Even the queen blinked, startled. Her rage, however, only grew. She raised her hand, and suddenly the shadows in the room began to move, writhing like living snakes. They coiled around the human, trying to crush him. The human's eyes glinted. He ducked and rolled aside, avoiding the shadows. He grabbed a small device from his belt and pressed a button. A burst of bright light exploded in the room, and the shadows recoiled, screeching like dying creatures. The queen hissed, taking a step back. "You are brave. Or foolish," she said. "I prefer bold," the human replied. Smirking, the queen narrowed her eyes and raised her arms. The throne behind her glowed with dark energy, and the ground trembled beneath them. Rocks and dust lifted into the air as a deep, rumbling sound echoed through the chamber. She was preparing to unleash her full power. The human didn't move. He simply observed her, calculating, watching for a weakness. His past had taught him one thing: fear was a weapon, but courage could be stronger. A memory flashed in his mind. His colony, destroyed years ago by alien raiders, left him as the sole survivor. He had learned to survive, to fight, and to stay calm even when everything seemed lost. He knew that today, defiance might be his only weapon. The queen stepped closer, her claws scratching the floor. Sparks flew where they touched. She hissed, a sound like wind through broken glass. "Kneel, human, submit to me, or you will die in agony." "I said, make me," he repeated. The queen's fury exploded. She extended her hand, and suddenly, a series of glowing daggers appeared in the air, spinning toward the human at impossible speed. He ducked, rolled, and leapt, dodging each one. With a flick of his wrist, he triggered another device. A blinding flash of light erupted, temporarily stunning the queen. The human ran, ducking behind pillars and debris. He could see the queen's face now, an expression of disbelief and rage. For the first time, she was unsure. This human, he is different. Interesting, she whispered to herself, a dangerous smile forming on her lips. The human paused behind a column and looked out. The courtiers were frozen, staring at the unfolding duel. Many had never seen anyone challenge the vampire alien queen so openly. The human's boldness was shaking the very foundation of her court. The queen gathered her energy. Dark tendrils of power extended from her body, slashing through the air like black lightning. The human braced himself, knowing he couldn't rely on speed alone anymore. He needed to think, to outsmart her. Suddenly, a subtle noise distracted the queen. The human had set small, hidden devices across the room. They detonated one by one, sending shockwaves through the throne room. Rocks and debris flew, and the queen stumbled slightly, her attention divided. The human seized the moment. He sprinted forward, not toward her, but around her, making her lose track of his position. The queen turned quickly, her fangs bared, eyes glowing brighter than ever. She had never faced such agility and cunning in a human before. "Enough games," she screamed. Energy surged around her like a storm, and the room shook violently. The human knew he had to act fast. He activated a final device, a small orb that emitted a blinding light. The queen shrieked as the light engulfed her. Shadows screamed and hissed, twisting violently. When the light faded, the human was gone. The queen stood in the middle of the room, breathing heavily, eyes scanning for him. Her fury was unmatched. "Show yourself," she roared. But the human didn't answer. For a few tense seconds, silence filled the throne room. The courtiers were terrified, unsure what would happen next. And then, a whisper echoed through the chamber, "I'm right here." The queen spun around, golden eyes blazing with rage, only to find nothing. The human had vanished, leaving the room trembling with suspense. Her scream of anger filled the throne room, bouncing off the walls like thunder. "I will destroy him." The throne room was silent. The vampire alien queen stood in the center, her glowing golden eyes scanning every shadow, searching for the human who had vanished. Her fury was like a storm ready to erupt. She raised her hands, and the floor trembled beneath her as dark energy surged around her, crackling like lightning. A whisper echoed from the darkness. "I'm right here." The queen spun around, but again, the human was nowhere to be seen. The courtiers held their breath, frozen with fear and awe. Never had anyone dared to defy the vampire alien queen so boldly, and survive. Suddenly, a soft, alien glow appeared behind her. The human stepped out of the shadows, calm, confident, his eyes fixed on the queen. He didn't show fear. He didn't flinch. "You again," the queen hissed, her voice trembling with rage. "How is this possible?" The human tilted his head, smiling. "I told you, courage is stronger than fear." The queen roared, and the energy around her flared. Tendrils of dark power lashed toward him like living snakes. The human dodged, rolling across the floor. Each movement was precise and deliberate, as if he knew exactly where to step. "You rely too much on power," the human said, keeping his eyes locked on hers. "But even you have weaknesses." The queen snarled. "Weaknesses? I am the vampire alien queen. I am untouchable." But the human didn't answer. Instead, he activated a small, glowing device in his hand. A pulse of light shot out, forming a barrier around him that deflected the queen's attacks. The dark energy that had seemed unstoppable moments ago faltered against his clever gadgets. The courtiers gasped. They had never seen a human fight like this before. Some whispered among themselves, could this human truly be more than just flesh and bone? The queen's eyes blazed. She summoned the energy from her throne, making the ground shake and debris fly everywhere. She created a swirling vortex of dark power, intending to crush him. The human smiled calmly, watching the vortex grow. Then, with a quick motion, he tossed several small orbs into the air. They exploded one by one, each creating a flash of light that disrupted the queen's energy. She screamed in frustration, slashing the air with her claws, but the human kept moving, keeping her off balance. "You can't win with tricks," the queen shouted. "Maybe not, but I can survive long enough to turn the tables," the human replied. The queen's rage intensified. She flew into the air, her wings unfurling, black and glimmering, casting shadows across the room. Her speed was terrifying, and she attacked from above, claws and fangs flashing. But the human was ready. He rolled under her, flipped over her, and triggered another device. This time, the device projected a holographic duplicate of the human across the room. The queen lunged at the image, and her claws passed through nothing. The human took advantage of her distraction, positioning himself behind her throne. "Stop running," she screamed. "I'm not running," he said quietly, "I'm waiting for the right moment." Then he saw it. The queen's power came from the throne itself. The dark energy swirling around her was drawn from it, feeding her strength. Without it, she was still dangerous, but vulnerable. The human's heart raced. This was his chance. With precise timing, he activated a small, glowing orb and threw it at the base of the throne. A pulse of energy erupted, cracking the floor. The queen stumbled, her balance disrupted for the first time. What are you doing?" she yelled, fury and disbelief mixing in her voice. "I'm leveling the playing field," he replied. The human moved quickly, using the cracks in the floor and the debris around him as cover. He dodged her strikes and taunts, slowly circling her. With a final motion, he threw another device directly under the throne. It exploded in a blinding light, severing the connection between the queen and her source of power. For a moment, silence filled the throne room. The queen's golden eyes dimmed slightly, and her wings faltered. She was powerful, yes, but no longer invincible. The human stepped forward, calm and confident. "Power is nothing without respect," he said. His voice echoed in the silent chamber. The queen's rage boiled over. She lunged at him with everything she had left, dark energy surging from her body. But the human was ready. He sidestepped at the last moment, using her momentum against her. She crashed into a wall, the force cracking stone. The courtiers gasped. They had never seen the queen fall, or even stumble. Many began to whisper that perhaps this human was destined for more than anyone had ever imagined. The queen struggled to her feet, breathing heavily, her fury unabated. "This cannot be. I am eternal. I am the vampire alien queen." "You are," the human admitted, "but even eternity has limits. Even ends can make mistakes." The queen's eyes narrowed. She realized that brute force alone would not win. The human was clever, resourceful, and fearless, a combination she had never faced. For the first time, doubt crept into her mind. With a final scream, she unfurled her wings and retreated to the far end of the throne room. Her eyes never left him. "You have won, for now, human. But I will return. I always do." The human didn't move. He watched her leave, calm and composed. The courtiers began to rise slowly, their fear replaced by awe. Whispers filled the room. "He survived, he defeated her. What does this mean for our world?" The human walked slowly to the center of the throne room, looking at the throne where the queen had drawn her power. He placed a hand on it, feeling the residual energy. It was dangerous, yes, but it was also a key, a clue to the secrets the queen had hidden for centuries. He knew this was not the end. The vampire alien queen would return, stronger and angrier. But for now, the human had proven that courage, intelligence, and defiance could challenge even the most terrifying force in the galaxy. He turned to leave the throne room, stepping over the broken stone and debris. His mind was already planning, already preparing for the inevitable return of the queen. He was ready for the next battle.